It's Women's Month, and we definitely have to mark this month by having a significant and powerful woman in our society who's changing the narrative for not just herself, but other women, other girls in society. And today we have Ruvimbo Topodzi on our very first show, who's going to share with us her journey towards pursuing her purpose, towards making a difference in the lives not only of her own children, but also of other girls in society. And I'm so inspired by her story. Ruvimbo Topodzi is a women's rights advocate. She is fighting against child marriages, sexual harassment, rape, sexual abuse. So we want to hear from her what has made her get into these communities, what has made her go into the unheard communities, in the communities where women's voices are not being amplified as much as they should. Ruvimbo, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Sister Z. You're always, I'm always impressed by you, and also whatever that you're doing within the youth people. I think it's a great initiative of having the Pursuing Purpose program that will also help everyone in the world. I think this is something that needs to be told everywhere, and people should know about this program. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much, and I absolutely love your story. You know that your story inspires me tremendously. The very first day I met Ruvimbo, I was blown away by just how powerful of a woman she is and the things that she's doing in society. And in my mind I was like, we need more people to know about this woman and what she is doing and the difference that she is making. Ruvimbo, tell us a little bit about what you do. What is your work about and what's your organization about?
Okay. So as Topodzi Foundation, first we are working on ending child marriages, like you said. And when we started Topodzi Foundation, it was from the what happened to me when I was married at the age of 15. I think so many people know me as Ruvimbo Topodzi from the constitutional court ruling that was made in 2016, and that gave me the power to go into the communities. You know how it is in Zimbabwe. So many women who got married, they didn't finish their education, so they don't understand much of these things when it comes to reading, when it comes to know the laws. So they don't know how much information they have at hand. But I took it upon myself to go and share with them what is it that we should do as young people, what is it that the community should do to fight and end child marriages. So as a person, as a young person, we have gone through the courts, everything that we did in 2016, and coming to the landmark ruling of ending child marriages from when they were saying that a girl child should not be married at the age of 16 but should be married at the age of 18, because that is what the law of Zimbabwe says. A child is someone who is below the age of 18. So I am there as Topodzi Foundation to break down that information to those young girls, young people, the community, not leaving our parents, because those are the ones who are marrying us off. And also I know the economic hardships that are happening in Zimbabwe, and we are trying as Topodzi Foundation to find ways of empowering the young girl by doing life skills so that they are able to sustain themselves and their families. So this is what Topodzi Foundation is doing. And we also think that if you are doing these life skills, we are going to take some of the girls back to school so that they can finish their education, because some of them were married off before they reached the age of 18. From 15, maybe I can say from 14, 15, 16. So you see, when it comes to those ages, 14, 15, 16, they are very, very young. And they'll be maybe in Form 4, Form 2, Form 3, and they don't know much about being educated, being motivated, being empowered to become someone. So we are doing that, we are covering that gap so that those people, those young people, young women can go to school and have that information that they need.
Wow, I mean, your story is a clear example of how pain can be transformed into purpose. And you know, I am sure right now a lot of people, when they're seeing you speak, they're wondering, like, how did she become this powerful woman? What were your circumstances like growing up?
For me, it was hard, but then I overcome these circumstances by seeing that I have a purpose to live, and I have to pursue the purpose. I didn't know that I would be married at the age of 15, but it happened. But when I was married, I didn't drag myself thinking that maybe if I do this, I will lose focus. But the focus just came out. The confidence that came out from me, it is something that has made me to be who I am today. And I thank everyone, especially you sisters who have been there for me, and everyone of you has been there for me, supporting me. I think it takes other women to support each other, because if we don't do that as women, we are not doing anything in this world. So I think women are the greatest weapons in Zimbabwe, in the whole world, because they are there to support each other. And I think if we do that, because I can say my story, yes, I was married, but then without women, I could not have been who I am. But it's because of women.
At the age of 15, Ruvimbo was already married and already expected to be a wife and a mother. You can imagine how difficult of a circumstance that was for her. But somehow today, you find that she is running now an organization that is transforming that narrative and the story for other girls and transforming society for the positive. And one thing I always have admired about you is your tenacity and your resilience. Because when we talk about transforming the law in a country, I've always said to myself, wow, I mean, a woman who goes through a very difficult circumstance and then goes ahead and makes sure not only that she has, her own life is transformed, but that the law is transformed. Tell me about how that came about. How did you manage to work with different people in the country for you to be able to change that law and make sure that girls are married at different age?
Okay, I can say there are many people who have asked to go to the Constitutional Court of Zimbabwe to change the marriage law. If I can mention them, it is Veritas Zimbabwe, Roots Africa, as well as Tendai BTE was there to support us, seeing that as a person, I was seeing that so many girls were married off. They were rushing into marriage, thinking that marriage is an achievement. But no, it wasn't an achievement, because once you are married off, there are so many circumstances that will that comes on the way, and it's hard for you as a person, as a young person, to overcome them. So it took me as a young person. By that time, it was around 2015. It took me much confidence that were built in me through the support that I had from Roots Africa, because I was working with that organization. And I told them my story, how it went, how it happened to me. And they said, no, as a person, I think you should do something to change the marriage law. Because at 16, I saw it that when I was 15, I was in Form 3 and I didn't finish school. So it's a disadvantage for every child, for every girl child, being married off at the age of 14, 15, they would not have any chance of going back to school. So I as a person, I wanted that chance for us to go back to school. And it took me to build confidence for myself for a long time, but then I managed to do that, and I managed as well to go to the Constitutional Court without fear. You know what? In the society, people think that because people who are rich are the ones who can go to court, do this in court, change the laws, do this. But to me, it was a surprise, because I'm just a poor girl. I was just a poor girl who did this, and I had fear in me. But no, this can happen to anyone. You can do whatever that you want, that you feel that you need to change something in Zimbabwe, which is not right, because being married off at the age of 15, 14, it was something that is right. Because as a young person, your dreams are shattered. So I wanted the dreams of the girl child, for them to keep on dreaming, going to the university, be that person that they want to be, not to focus on being married home.
Which is powerful, and for many of us, we might be thinking, okay, what does it mean when she says that the Constitutional Court has passed this law? This law is now enacted, which means that anyone who marries, a girl who is below the age of 18, it would then face criminalization. And so for many of us, we're always wondering, what does it mean when laws are passed, when policies are changed? What does it mean when the Constitutional Court gets involved in what's happening in the country when it comes to what the constitutional law says? And I think this is the most important part of what we need to understand of the impact that Ruvimbo has done through our organization. So what does it mean, Ruvimbo, when we say that the Constitutional Court has now made a law or passed a law that says that girls should be married only at the age of 18? What does that mean in society?
Under society, it means that as parents, as the society, you should keep your girls at school, because we need everyone to be educated. We know there are people that are disadvantaged. They don't go to school. They're trying to earn a living. They're a child-headed family. So to the society, they need to understand it, because they see it as marrying of the girls is something that can bring food at the table. But no, we are saying it is not what you think it is. You need to come up with a solution. When you see this girl being married off, you need to come with a solution that we should not marry off this girl, because she is still a child. So when it comes to the Constitutional Court law, Constitution Court law, because the law of Zimbabwe says 18, not 16. It says 18, and I know that so many people don't understand the law, but we need to keep on reading, keep on telling them, advocating the law, because they should know this law appeared in the books of laws. So they should know this, and they should keep their girls, and they shouldn't marry them off to them. I think older men, because nowadays the older men are the ones that are marrying the younger girls. So I think the society should know that we are saying no to child marriage. Don't marry off the child.
Which is so powerful. So you find that right now what the Constitution says, that it is illegal to marry a girl who is below the age of 18, is something that Ruvimbo Topodzi made sure would happen. Her advocacy efforts, her fighting against laws that suppress women, these are some of the reasons why these laws exist, and which is why this is such a phenomenal story and such an amazing example of a woman who is going into the communities and making a difference. And so, you know, what can people do to make sure that the law is implemented? Because you find that sometimes people think that it's the responsibility of the government or the policy makers or the people that make the decision to make sure that the law is implemented. How can we protect children from getting married at a young age?
It is not only for the policymakers, the government. It is everyone's responsibility to take care of the girl child. Like I said, when a community sees that this girl is vulnerable and she can be an easy target, they should come out and speak out and maybe find a solution, just maybe to take the girl child to the social welfare so that she can be taken care of. They shouldn't allow, we are saying as one community, we shouldn't allow the girl child to be married off, because it brings so many circumstances, so many things that can happen when we are saying gender-based violence, mental health issues. So I think as the community, we should hold hands together and come out with a solution that we can say no to child marriage.
Okay, and that is so powerful. I think sometimes people don't really see the benefit of what laws can do. What does a change in policy, or what does a change in law actually do in society? But the first part is, as she said, it criminalizes the act, which means that the minute something like that happens, you are liable to criminalization if you do not abide by the law. So this is so important, that change sometimes does start with a change in law in order for us to implement and see that a change can happen for the majority of the people, and for people that might not be able to get the same support and resources as others would. And I think this is something that you're doing right now with Topodzi Foundation. So tell us about Topodzi Foundation. How does it support girls and how does it support young women?
Okay, we are supporting the young women by doing the life skills, where they can make their own brands, their own products like detergents, petroleum jelly for resale. And then when they have the profit, we take it back to them, and they find something to do so to sustain their families and themselves, because we know that we've got a dependent syndrome on the young girls who would say we need money from our husbands, and when the husbands doesn't give them the money, then gender-based violence is happening in their house. So we are trying to eliminate gender-based violence by providing life skills. We are also providing it to the young girls because we know that there are some that category of young girls who are vulnerable to child marriages. So we are giving them the life skills as well, so that they can take the money and go back to school, because we need everyone to be in school.
So, you know, as I said, Ruvimbo's story is a clear example of how pain can be transformed into purpose. Given all that she went through, she could have just given up on her life. She could have just accepted her fate and not even tried to pull herself out of that situation. And so I just want us to get more information from her on how she managed to pull herself out of that difficult situation of being married at 15. How did she find herself out of that situation and into pursuing her purpose?
I thought as a young person that I should do something to change the narrative of what was happening at that time. And I don't know, maybe it's a miracle because God works in mysterious ways, and He gave me the purpose of doing something that I didn't think I would do. But with Him and His thinking, He thought that I should pursue this purpose. And I did it. I made it. And I think as a young person, as young people around the world, I think we should pursue our purpose with passion. Because if you don't do that, I didn't think that I have a purpose in living, because from the situation that I was into, it was so difficult. But that's something that is in you that can give you the hope of having a purpose. And as a person, you need to have that in mind, that everything happens for a reason. And that is the purpose that God has made you to do. So the purpose is always there, and I think you should pursue it so that it becomes something. And I did it and made something very special, changing the marriage law from 16 to 18. And I think I will change someone's life in pursuing my purpose.
And you actually are doing it. I mean, imagine the number of girls who are being saved from child marriages just because Ruvimbo decided that she wanted to step out and make a difference so that her story will not become someone else's story. And so I think it comes from the understanding that we all have a part to play in someone else's story too, and changing the story of other people through what we can do to help them when we start pursuing our purpose. Now, Ruvimbo, what can we look forward to? I know that you've got so many things that you're working on. You know, Topodzi Foundation is growing. What can people look forward to when it comes to Topodzi Foundation and Ruvimbo?
People should see that we, as Topodzi Foundation, we are educating young people, and I think they should see the change of the young mothers being educated, becoming someone that they want, become the ministers of tomorrow, because that is what I want. I want the young women to have second chance so that they can go back to school and achieve their dreams. So as Topodzi Foundation, we are fighting by all means so that we can take each and every child bride back to school and pursue their purpose.
That's amazing. Well, you've heard it from Ruvimbo Topodzi herself, talking about how she managed to see the change in the marriage law from 16 to 18, her contributions, her advocacy efforts, and all the work that she put towards that is the reason why the law today says that girls are not supposed to be married below the age of 18. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, how can I make a difference? How can I be that type of a person? Well, you know, these kind of stories exist to inspire you. And there are people like Ruvimbo Topodzi who are there to inspire you too. So I guess the next step would be for you to try and reach out to her too and get inspiration. So how can people reach out to you? How can they contact you so that they can support your work or just draw more inspiration from you?
We have our Facebook page, that is Topodzi Foundation. At Twitter you can find that at Topodzi Trust, and at Instagram is Topodzi Foundation as well. For my personal Facebook page, it's Ruvimbo Topodzi, but others think it's Ruvimbo Topodzi, but actually it's Ruvimbo Topodzi. And I'm on Twitter as well, it's at Ruvimbo Speak Out. So they can reach me on those platforms. Thank you.
Well, that was Ruvimbo Topodzi from Topodzi Foundation, a woman who has made waves and changed the narrative for so many girls in the country, and who is passionately pursuing her purpose. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you next time when we are interviewing another game changer and another trailblazer who is passionately pursuing